Hello and welcome back to the Renewed Youth Students YouTube channel. We've been talking about the Tale of Two Kings, and we've been focusing on the life of King David. And he had just messed up big with God. He stole another person's wife and then had that person killed. And after being confronted, he did apologize and was very repentive about his behavior. But his actions that led to consequences in his own family and throughout the whole kingdom. So what we then talked about in the last video was that Amnon raped his sister Tamar, both of them being children of David, and essentially kind of got away with it because no one really wanted to take it to lie and have Amnon punished as the son of David, as the son of the king, which is a very terrible outcome and a very terrible thing to have been done in the kingdom. It should have been addressed, but David and the whole family of David just kept it hush-hushed. But Absalom, who was the closest brother to Tamar, just kept it in himself to the anger he had against Amnon. But after 2 years of this incident, he then has this ploy in which he invites Amnon away from the capital, or Jerusalem, and has him killed. And this was, a whole tragedy in which Absalom flees the kingdom, but David still allowed Absalom to come back to the kingdom upon request of his mother. And so Absalom gets a get out of jail free card, the way that Amnon did with raping his sister. But now Amnon's dead, and Absalom now realizes he has this power. He now thinks, oh, I can do justice. I'm the one who knows what's right about the kingdom, and I seem to be doing better than David. And that's where really the story will pick it up.
And so Absalom has this idea that, obviously King David should have done some serious justice for what happened to Absalom's sister Tamar. But King David did nothing about it. And so Absalom, after he has administered what he thinks is justice by killing Amnon for this, he kind of thinks that it's up to him now to do these things. And if King David has done nothing about all of this stuff, why should King David still be king? And so what Absalom does is he starts to craftily win the affections of the people in the kingdom. There were some issues that were happening in the kingdom, and he was trying to sympathize with those people by being like, oh, well, if only there was someone who would actually listen to everything that you guys are going through and do something about it. And obviously, King David isn't doing any of that. If only there was someone who could do that. And so he began to win people over with this kind of different way of thinking of, well, yeah, the king should be the one to listen to us. And they were all very much ready to pretty much make Absalom king at that point. And so word got back to the kingdom with King David and being like, listen, the people, their hearts are with Absalom. They're not with you anymore. And David does something really drastic here. Instead of, talking to Absalom once again, David's like, all right, everybody pack up. We are leaving because Absalom's probably going to kill us. And it's like, but you're the king still. You could still do something about this. But it seems like what happens here is that what David has done against God has such an effect on his heart and his soul that he forgets who he is. He forgets that he was the anointed one of God, and he forgets his place in God's plan, so much so that he becomes fearful of all of these prospects of Absalom possibly trying to come and kill him, and the people backing up Absalom instead of King David. And so David and his family and all of his officials just kind of pack up and leave.
Yeah, so really David has lost what is his faith in himself at this moment. And so whatever happens, he actually thinks, this must be God that must be kicking me out, must be taking me away because I know what I did was wrong. And throughout this fleeing, we're actually going to find that throughout the story, there's multiple characters that, may even like curse him and say how terrible you are. And he actually says, yeah, you're right. Absolutely. That's me. But it wasn't in God's plan for David to be in this fleeing state. He already experienced this with King Saul. So there is a moment in which one must realize the consequences in their own life and obviously repent to God, but not let that define who you are and let that take you down a path of just fleeing. Because God still loves David in this story, and God still loves us too. So we'll talk about that a little bit more, about how King David actually returns and still remains as king during this time.
Yep, and so we'll see you then.
See you.